sa sa se so Rama sa sa se so Rama dasa sa se so Rama dasa sa se so Rama dasa sa se so So this song brings in the energy of Ra, the sun, Ma, the moon, Da is earth, Sa, infinity, the cosmos of all dimensions, Se, the sacred thou, So, merger, Hung, the infinite vibrating reality. And so hung I am thou. Rama jasa sa se so hang. 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 Rama jasa sa se so 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 Rama jasa sa se so
Thank you, Darby. Welcome, everyone. People on the lanai and people on the live stream. My name is Pasha McGregor. I'm the facilitator this morning. And our guest speaker is Heather Reynolds, who some of you may know as Vyana Wailele, or the Mermaid Lady. And our music minister, you've already gotten a sample. That's Darby Partner, and you'll be hearing more from her. So I'm going to invite Lynn to come forward to share a reading from us from the Science of Mind magazine. And Lynn, I'll replace this microphone. See that? I think that'll work. Don't be afraid of the microphone. It's a friendly microphone.
It's a friendly microphone. Good morning. Aloha kahakiaka. First, my name is Vaikea, also Lynn. I have a reading from Buddha. I'll read the quote first. 3 things shine in the open, not undercover. What 3? The moon shines in the open, not undercover. The sun shines in the open, not undercover. The teaching and training proclaimed by the realized one shines in the open, not undercover. And another quote from Ernest Holmes from The Science of Mind. The truth known is instantly demonstrated. I may be adding to an aging stereotype, but I've grown enamored with bird watching. I am blessed to be surrounded by nature, and our feeders are positioned, so our morning coffee includes observing the comings and goings of a wide variety of visitors. And of all the birds that feast, the male cardinal with its striking red coloring, and the female cardinal with its more subtle red coloring, of those, the male up with its bright red coloring demands my greatest attention. Of all there is to see, my eye is immediately drawn to wherever he is perched. There is no denying his presence. The above quote is attributed to Buddha, and it's one of the ones that is nearest in authenticity to his actual teachings, according to the Pali texts, the oldest collection of Buddhist scriptures preserved in their original language. The metaphor is that the moon, the sun, and the I am awareness are open for anyone to see. Likewise, the Buddhist teaching is open and accessible. There are no secret teachings. The ease with which I see the cardinal is the ease from which my I am nature may also be seen. Regardless the conditions around me, I can emerge clear-eyed to the landscape of any earthly circumstance. There are no secrets in the development of consciousness. No matter the conflicts of the world, solution shines in the open, not undercover. No matter what the information broadcast, the undeniable presence of the divine shines in the open, not undercover. Truth is noble and vibrant in its energy, just like the coloring and disposition of that cardinal. It forever shines in the open. May we see. And the affirmation is, my guidance is in plain sight. And let me repeat that again so we can all say, my guidance is in plain sight.
Thank you. That was wonderful. That really resonated for me because there's a particular cardinal that I see, Rob and I see from our meditation porch. We see him so often, we've given him a name, and he's definitely in plain sight. His name is Guy. So I had a certain prayer that came to mind that I wanted to share this morning for our opening prayer, but I couldn't find it among all my New Thought papers, and I didn't have time to search for it online. Then as I walked into I sort of gave it up, and thought, okay, I'll use a different one. But then I looked at the bulletin board in my kitchen, and it was in plain sight. As I had taken home some old, a set of prayer flags to try to resuscitate them. And this one, I liked it so much I couldn't throw it away. So I just, here it is. And it's the prayer of St. Francis. So, Lord, make me an instrument of peace, that where there is hatred, let me bring love. Where there is injury, may I bring pardon. Where there is discord, may I bring harmony. And where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, may I bring hope. Where there are shadows, may I bring light. And where there is sadness, may I bring joy. Grant that I may offer comfort rather than seek to be comforted. Grant also that I may understand rather than seek to be understood. And grant that I may give love rather than seek to be loved. For it is in giving that we receive. It is by forgiving that we are forgiven. It is in dying that we awaken to new life. Okay, so let's just take a minute or two to ponder that. You know, which part of that speaks to you right now. And when it's time to proceed, I'll ring the chimes. Welcome back and welcome here to the new arrivals. So the New Thought Board had a certain concept. We're trying to discern the best way to relate to the COVID virus. We were hoping it would just go away, but apparently we have to live with it. So because we're a little shorthanded, there wasn't really a greeter to, you know, inform you of this idea as you arrived. But what it was is we thought, well, now that there's not a mask mandate, some people will choose to wear a mask. It feels safer, and some will not. And we thought with our lanai so big and airy that we could have room for both groups, but we have to designate an area, and that's the part that unfortunately we couldn't communicate that ahead. So I'm going to give the people on the lanai a little time for musical chairs if you're not sitting in the preferred area once you find out what it is. So we're trying out this week that the north side is for people who prefer to wear a mask. So that would be like from the about where the laptop is positioned that in that direction. So if you're sitting in that section, either put on your mask or move to the other side of the room. And I'll just allow a little minute time for the musical chairs. And I'm going to wear a mask whenever I'm not, when I'm done with my main function, when I introduce Heather or I introduce Darby for a song, because I'm hoping to travel soon and I want to make sure that I am healthy for that experience. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's reversed from the previous week. I'm sorry, but we're trying we're trying out different options. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Is everybody where they want to be now, relative to masks or not masks? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, sorry. We were trying to arrange the chairs appropriately, but it's hard to foresee everything. Okay, I think we're complete with that. So now I get to ask Darby for that. You got to hear a little prelude music if you were here exactly on time or a little earlier. But now this is her official first song of the service.
Aloha, everyone. So, who else is in love with the goddess and the mother of the universe? Oh, I sure am. So, I'm going to call the mother of the universe in this morning, starting out with that protection energy and that mothering energy, and bring in the divine feminine. So this bhajan song, devotional song, actually I'm bringing in a bunch of amazing, beautiful goddesses. So I can real quick go over them if you'd like, so you can have an understanding of who we're speaking to today. So we are calling in, we're praising the goddess Lakshmi. So she's the goddess of abundance, joy, beauty. Sarasvati, the goddess of wisdom, music, learning, reading, books. Kali Ma, she is the destroyer and the creator. And then we also have some beautiful goddesses from the Hawaiian traditions. Pele Ma, who you all know, our volcano goddess. Poliahu, she's the goddess of the snow, and she lives up on Mauna Kea. And Haumea, who she's the goddess of midwifery and childbirth. So if you all know, I am a midwife here on the island. And so every time I have a birth, when I'm driving to the birth, I call upon Haumea and I ask for her guidance and her protection. And then also, of course, Durga Ma, and she is the goddess who takes us across the ocean of difficulties of this life. So we can always call upon her when we need that carrying across in her strength of her tiger that she rides. So here we go. So feel free. So I'll do call and response style. So feel free. I'll sing and then feel free to respond. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Hey Mahalakshmi, hey Sarasvati, hey Mata Kali, Jagadambe Jai Jai Ma, Jagadambe Jai Jai Ma. Hey Mahalakshmi, hey Sarasvati, hey Mata Kali, Jagadambe Jai Jai Ma, Jagadambe Jai Jai Ma. Hey Hey Mahalakshmi, Hey Saraswati, Hey Mata Kali, Jagadambe Jai Jai Ma, Jagadambe Jai Jai Ma. Hey Ma Durga, Hey Ma Durga, Hey Ma Durga, Jagadambe Jai Jai Ma. Hey Ma Durga, Hey Ma Durga, Hey Ma Durga, Jagadambe Jai Jai Ma. Hey Ma Kali, Hey Ma Kali, Hey Ma Kali, Jagadambe Jai Jai Ma. Hey Ma Kali, Hey Ma Kali, Hey Ma Kali, Jagadambe Jai Jai Ma. Hey Sarasvati, Hey Sarasvati, Hey Sarasvati, Jagadambe Jai Jai Ma. Hey How Maya, Hey How Maya, Hey How Maya, Jagadambe Jai Jai Ma. Hey How Maya, Hey How Maya, Hey How Maya, Jagadambe Jai Jai Ma. Hey Ma Pele, Hey Ma Pele, Hey Ma Pele, Jagadambe Jai Jai Ma. Hey Ma Pele, Hey Ma Pele, Hey Ma Pele, Jagadambe Jai Jai Ma. Hey Poliahu, Hey Poliahu, Hey Poliahu, Jagadambe Jai Jai Ma. Hey Poliahu, Hey Poliahu, Hey Poliahu, Jagadambe Jai Jai Ma. Jagadambe Jai Jai Ma, 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 Jagadambe Jai Jai Ma. Hey Ma Durga, Hey Ma Durga, Hey Ma Durga, Jagadambe Jai Jai Ma. Hey Ma Durga, Hey Ma Durga, Hey Ma Durga, Jagadambe Jai Jai Ma. Hey Ma Durga, Hey Ma Durga, Hey Ma Durga, Jagadambe Jai Jai Ma. Hey Ma Durga, Hey Ma Durga, Hey Ma Durga, Jagadambe Jai Jai Ma. Hey Ma Durga, Hey Ma Durga, Hey Ma Durga, Jagadambe Jai Jai Ma. Hey Ma Durga, Hey Ma Durga, Hey Ma Durga, Jagadambe Jai Jai Ma. Jagadambe Jai Jai Ma, Jagadambe Jai Jai Ma, Jagadambe Jai Jai Ma, Jagadambe Jai Jai Ma. Jai Ma.
Jai Ma. I love the harmonium sound. Thank you, Darby.
Thank you.
And we've got all these wonderful female energies with us now. And I was happy that Momi was motivated to straighten out those prayer flags on the north side, because those all are representations of goddesses from different traditions. Yeah. So I welcome you all to New Thought Center, old friends and new, and in person and on live stream. And I'm wondering, among the people who are actually here on the lanai, if any of you are here for the first time, could you raise your hand? Okay. So normally we would, pre and post COVID, we will use our handheld mic and pass it around the entire lanai. But since we are trying to not, have many people touch the same objects, we're just simplifying a little bit. But if you could just briefly remove your mask so we can see you, and tell us who you are and where you're from and how you found your way here this morning.
Hi, my name is Juliana, and I'm living in the Bay Area now, and I'm here visiting Mermaid Vyana, my sister and friend, and learning more about the culture and just loving being here.
Well, welcome, Juliana. Thank you. And you're very helpful this morning, a very helpful friend. So Juliana from the Bay Area, happy to have you with us this morning. Okay. And I want to take a minute to recognize an old friend too, because she's getting ready to move, and we won't have the pleasure of her company frequently for a while. And that's Bernice Roberto, which is it Britta? What's your, yeah. And Brihan for short. Okay. Well, then you sound like a cheese. Anyway. Of course, she does have culinary talents. Ah, okay. Well, we were, so her husband, Manuel Mahesh, did a historical presentation not too long ago. So we're looking back and determined that Brihan and Mahesh have been part of the New Thought community pretty much since we started meeting in Kealakekua it was either 1999 or early 2000. So they are getting ready to move to Florida. So yeah. Good. We'll look forward to visits. Yeah, thanks. So I'm also, it's also my privilege to introduce New Thought as an entity. And we are always in the process of defining and redefining ourselves. But what I wanted to focus on right now is our logo, because we moved the big image of our logo. It was on the gate door, and now it's more prominent. And that was a creation of Morty Breyer, who was very active in New Thought in the late 90s, early 2000s. And if the closer you look, the more you can find symbols of different faiths in the central part, and then just the colorful. He liked to do mandalas, so the mandala is surrounding the image that has the interfaith symbols. Beautiful symbol. That's one aspect of New Thought, is the interfaith, respecting, the wisdom in many different faith traditions. And in some of our our special vision meetings and board events, we've come up with some different definitions. The motto on our letterhead says that New Thought Center of Hawaii is a sanctuary for the nourishment, development, and evolution of each individual's unique spiritual path. And then in 2010, we added aloha. So it was a sanctuary of aloha. And in 2011, we added weaving a lei of love. So those are all aspects of our self-definitions. And of course, it's still evolving. And we made our 50-year mark in September of 2021. We haven't really been able to do a extravaganza to celebrate that like we wanted to, but we're just figuring we can extend it. And when the time is right, we'll have a big party. But meanwhile, we've been learning more about our history, and that's Mahesh did his presentation as part of that, since he was a important leader of New Thought in the early 2000s, and a faithful member ever since. So I think that should be sufficient for introductions. And now we get to have another song.
Okay. So please feel free to sing along with this one. I think some of you will know it. So it's a Hawaiian song, and we also have English as well. So e malama I kaheau. So let us take care of the sacred earth. Do what is right with commitment. E malama I kaheau. E malama I kaheau. E malama pono e kaheau. Hey. E malama I kaheau. E malama I kaheau. E malama pono e kaheau. Hey. E malama I kaheau. E malama I kaheau. E malama pono e kaheau. Hey. E malama I kaheau. E malama e kaheau. E malama pono e kaheau. Hey. E malama e kaheau. E malama e kaheau. E malama pono e kaheau. Hey. E malama e kaheau. E malama e kaheau. E malama pono e kaheau. Hey. Earth and sky, sea and stone, we hold this land in sacredness. Earth and sky, sea and stone, we hold this land in sacredness. Earth and sky, sea and stone, we hold this land in sacredness. Imalama ikaheo, imalama ikaheo, imalama pono ikaheo, 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 earth and sky, sea and stone, we hold this land in sacredness. Earth and sky, sea and stone, we hold this land in sacredness. Earth and sky, sea and stone, we hold this land in sacredness. Earth and sky, sea and stone, we hold this land in sacredness. Earth and sky, sea and stone, we hold this land in sacredness. We hold this land in sacredness. We hold this land in sacredness. Imalama ikaheo, imalama ikaheo, imalama pono ikaheo,
If you're not familiar with it, the gesture, it's a new thought modification of a sign language for applause. So this is, I guess, applause, but if we want to give a stronger affirmation, this is like a standing ovation. So thank you, Darby. Beautiful. So now is the time that the mic is open for the sharing of miracles and ordinaries. And since it is a shared mic by several people, if you don't mind to speak through your mask like I am right now. And if you're not wearing a mask, you can grab one just for this purpose. I'll bring it over to this table.
I'd like to share two things. One is Darby, during the first song, this huge, it's probably about this big, white moth flew in and is in the rafters right there. While you did your goddess song, this like angel moth flew in. They don't usually fly around during the day, and I don't see a lot of white ones. So I just wanted to honor its presence. The other thing that my miracle, I shared recently that my brother had a heart attack about 2 months ago. We were about 2 miles out on the boat, and I was with him, and he's fine. He got stinted. He's okay. You know, it was a wake up call. He's changed his life, which I'm really grateful for. But at that moment, I cried out and called my dad, who's on the other side. And I wrote a song called Brother, in which the chant in the song is Ola Amakua, yeah, calling out to the ancestors for healing. And my dad has been present a lot. Really, really amazing. And so much so that I recently had a concert at my house. A Hawaiian woman came and she shared a lot of Hawaiian spiritual wisdom. And she played maybe 6 songs. And out of those songs, she played this one song that was my dad's song. My dad, every night after work, would come home and he'd have one drink. I never saw my dad drunk my entire life. But every night he would come home and have one drink, and he would go out into the living room. And as children, we could go hang out with him, but we couldn't talk. We could sing along, but that was his time. And every night he played the same song. Yeah, it was his song, and it was "Gentle on My Mind." You know that John Cam. I forget, but "Gentle on My Mind" is knowing that your door is always open and so forth. So here she is playing all these Hawaiian songs, and she's just like, I feel like I want to play this song, and she played that song, and like I want to cry right now. It was such a reminder from the spirit world of my dad's presence. And so 2 reminders from the spirit world that we're never alone, that they're always right here. So mahalo te amakua.
Oh, bless. Aloha. Um, I have an announcement that I don't know if it's spiritual or ordinary, but on Tuesday at 11 a.m. this week, there is a blessing of our new county land acquisition on Ali'i Drive. On the Makai side, it's an oceanfront property that was just purchased with all of our county tax money. That 3% go into a fund, and the county of Hawaii purchases public land. And this is for the preservation of a heiau that is on this property. The name of the heiau is Ka Ua Kai Akaola, which is the rain of the land and the shouting out of the way that the rain comes in from the ocean, the water comes in from the ocean and then rains upon us. And this land is going to be a proposed cultural park, and it's being blessed by Kumu Keala Ching on Tuesday at 11 a.m. It's located north of Casa de Emdeco on Ali'i Drive. There's a little mini market there, and south of the Royal Seacliff Resort and Kai Olu Drive. There's an address, 756082 Ali'i Drive is the Casa de Emdeco address, but it's about 20 minutes from here, about 10 miles from here. So it's about 2.5 miles north of the Kailua Pier. It's a big empty space that's on the Makai side of Ali'i Drive. So anyone is welcome. There'll be some county officials there. So you can park near Casa de Emdeco. The gate will be open and there's a little driveway there. Mm-hmm. Thank you, south. I appreciate your correction. Yes, south of the pier along Ali'i Drive, about 2.5 miles south of the pier. So the name of the heiau again is Ka'ua Kai Akaola, and in the future it will be a public cultural park for preservation of the heiau in this open space that's there. So that's happening on Tuesday.
Thank you all. And thank you for the miracles you're holding in your hearts. But I am going to go ahead and introduce our speaker now, because I know she has a lot to share with us. Now, there was a really great bio in the newsletter and on the website. I expect quite a few of you have read it already, but I'll just do a few excerpts and then turn it over to Heather. So for today, because of what role she's in and what she intends to share with us, she's mainly Heather Reynolds, but as I mentioned, she's sometimes Vyana Wailele. And she grew up in Tacoma, Washington. Both of her parents had a focus on healing. Her father was an osteopathic physician, homeopath, and used acupuncture even before it was legal. And her mother was a Rolfer. She graduated with honors from Linfield College in Oregon. Later in her life, she graduated also with honors from Georgetown Law Center. And she had a period of her life when she was traveling in search of cultural diversity and to expand her understanding of religion and humanity. She joined the Baha'i faith for 9 years. She had a year in Istanbul, Turkey, as a student ambassador through Rotary, which was very life-changing. And at that time, I imagine pretty young age, she decided that human rights, particularly for women, would be her life's focus. And she is still on that path, I would say. So the most recent development is that she's continuing to transform the practice of law by balancing a traditionally masculine system with feminine wisdom. And she's founded a nonprofit called Phoenix Rising Empowerment Project, whose mission is to heal our culture of sexual violence through transformative justice and innovative interventions. So please help me welcome Heather Reynolds. And Heather, I'm going to relocate, and when it's getting close to your finishing time, I'll come back to the facilitator seat.
Testing, testing. Can you hear me now? Testing, testing. Can you hear me now? Testing, testing. Can you hear me now? Volume? Anyone? Anyone? Testes, testes, menses, menses. No? Little humor. There we go. I can hear me now. That's nice. Thank you, Mr. No, not so much. Shall I bring this microphone over? Testing, testing. No signal. May I? All right. So, hear me now. Thank you. I'll just take this off. No more headache for me. All right. So, I'm so grateful to be here, so excited to be here, and I feel so supported in being here by all of you who have made this possible. The people who have been at New Thought and created it for the last 50 years, all of the wisdom that has brought this place together that makes this possible. Also, the flowers come from my garden that volunteered themselves when Juliana went looking for them this morning to make our beautiful space more beautiful. And she also donated the candle that we'll be lighting in a moment in a symbolic way. And all of you coming here with your beautiful energy and your aloha and your receptiveness. It's no fun to think of ways to, solve the world's problems without people to play with in that game. And the beautiful Bernice is here. She's teaching me how to play the harp since the last time I came watch her play it. And I'm so blessed to have one of her harps. So I'm just grateful to be surrounded by people that are so radiant and alive and showing up. So I want to start by the way that my kumu, I have a Hawaiian teacher named Ali'i Keana Aina. And his family has lived here for thousands of years. And he taught me that when I go to a place, I should do 4 things. And those 4 things are to first introduce myself and my intention, and then to share a song, a story, and a gift, a physical gift. So there are 4 things. And part of that is also the blessing. I almost forgot the blessing in there. So the introduction is just a given. The third thing is the blessing, and followed by the gift, if I get this right. And please forgive me as I am new to this culture and just learning from it. One of my Halau sisters has come to support me today as well, and I'm so grateful. So the first thing I wanted to do, that I was reminded by Darby's beautiful recreation of what I imagine chanting and mantra in India, satsang or whatever they call it, depending on the language, is so powerful. And when I was listening to it, I was reminded of my time in India, where I came to love the beauty of the wisdom that is in India, not the, and in contrast to the materialism that I grew up in the American culture, and thinking that we were rich in America because we had stuff, and then going to India and finding that they were way happier in the villages than I had ever seen Americans be, and they were so rich, so much richer than my community that I had grown up in, having nothing almost. And it was just a big game changer for me to see that. So one of the songs that came to me as I was sitting here listening for what song would I want to share with you, because this is one of my most vulnerable things to do, is to sing for other people. But thank you for helping me a little bit with that, Bernice. And it's a Baha'i prayer, and it's very short, and it is who I want to be when I'm sharing information, or not information, when I'm sharing with other people. And it goes like this. Make me as a hollow reed, from which the pith of self hath been blown, that I may become a clear channel, through which thy love may flow unto others. And I want to be that today. So while I have created something to say to you today, I also welcome all of the ancestors that have come because I invited them, the ones that are here with love in their hearts for us, the big aloha. I'm being repeated over here. That's so cool. And I want to invite any loving beings that may not be in bodies, the fifth dimensional beings, the fairies, the mermaids, all of the realms that we don't always see and don't always appreciate. And I want to invite the loving ones here as well for this, so that we can all as a group know our personal power and our group power, and stand in it and stand in our truth and listen deeply for it. So having said that, the story I want to tell you happened yesterday. So that was my intro, my intention. Now the story of what happened yesterday at Honaunau, the Pu'u Honua o Honaunau. This is a wonderful ancient city of refuge that has been preserved now by the National Park Association of America. I think that's what it's called. Anyway, I went there because this is the only Pu'u Honua left, as I understand it, in Hawaii. And the Pu'u Honua tradition was that this was a city where people could go if they had committed a crime, or they needed healing, or they were warriors that didn't want to fight anymore for whatever reason. Whatever the issue was, they would find refuge there. It's a sanctuary city. They would not be killed, for example, for their crime. Instead, they would be forgiven, and they would be offered a healing protocol that they would complete there. And once they completed that protocol, would be able to return to their own villages and homes, completely forgiven, and then back to society that way. So I am in awe of this tradition that's been around for, many generations. And the energy of this place is so powerful that it is my favorite place on earth now, the Pu'u Honua o Honaunau. And we went there yesterday with my friend Juliana because I told her about it, and she came at this particular time of year, the last weekend of every June. The Pu'u Honua comes alive again, and they have what they call a cultural festival. But it actually is stepping back into their kahuna selves, their kapuna selves, and the ancient ways. And they remind us of the wisdom that they have carried forever there. And that wisdom is something I'm very interested in and very excited about bringing back to modern times. I'm always looking for intercultural wisdom to bring back to society today, that we might live that in those ways again, to the extent that it serves us, right? To the extent that it makes sense now today. So we went there, and it had been canceled because of COVID, and we didn't get the memo, and neither did the ancestors. So we were there, and we had the most, for myself, I had the most rich experience of wisdom,
transferred there at the City of Refuge at the hut called the Hale Okiave, which is the hut that's still there that you would go into the little hole and ask for, what's my protocol? Here's what I've done. What's my protocol? Here's what I need. What's my protocol for healing behind this wall? And so we did the 4 things when we got there that my kumu had taught me. And we offered our, our invitation, our introduction of who we were, our lineages, why we were there. We asked, or we offered our song, we offered our prayer, our blessing, we offered a story, and then we asked for healing and transformation of whatever it was that was specific to us. And I particularly was asking for wisdom around this nonprofit that I'm helping to launch right now with regard to ending violence, sexual violence in particular in America. And healing my own past so that I can come free and forgiven and forgiving into this new project. And it was a very humbling experience to be in front of all of these chiefs who are embodied in their totems or in their ikis, and the energy of the place is so potent. And so after we did this, we went around behind the wall of protection, this huge rock wall, and we sat on these hot black lava stones, and we closed our eyes and we dropped into a meditation to listen for what it was that we had just asked for. And it came, and it was so beautiful, each of us having our own different experiences and gifts of that wisdom that's available to us here in those places of sacredness, the heiaus, the places in our hearts. We don't have to go somewhere to find this kind of deep wisdom. But I was so grateful. I felt blessed to have received some. And so I wanted to share that with you today. I wanted to share what came through for me and how excited I was to be in a place of what I would call, I've never heard this word before, transformative justice. And that's what the title of the talk is today, transformative justice as a spiritual practice. And I had never heard the word transformative justice until it came to me in a meditation in December. And I realized the connection between that word and what was happening at the City of Refuge all these hundreds of years, and how that there is a word now in our English language to hold a little bit of what that might hold. And so the first thing that bubbled up for me in that listening, in that meditation, was the aloha chant. Aloha is the core value of the spiritual practice of the Hawaiian way. According to my teacher, and I say all this just based on what my teacher has shared with me, my kumu, and that he has given me permission to tell these stories. I would not share any of this without permission of a kumu or a Hawaiian teacher to be able to do this. And I'm not profiting in any way from sharing this information. So the first thing that came was the aloha chant he taught me, and it started bubbling up inside of me. And I remembered the A in aloha stands for akahaie, kindness. Okay, there's one of the answers I need today. Lokahi, the unity consciousness, that's the L in aloha. Olu olu, positive attitude, being positive and imagining a future that we want to live into. Ha'a ha'a, that's the humility. And aho nui, the patience. So these values and virtues are just one small aspect of aloha. Many of us know aloha is love, and we'll talk about that in a minute too. But I was very excited to hear the simplicity of the message of what is underneath, what's the underpinning virtues and values, the aloha way that makes a city of refuge possible. So my protocol that was personal to me yesterday was this. Here's what came after the aloha chant was inside of me. It was empty, empty, empty your bowl. That is what I was told. And I remembered that the Hawaiian tradition of who we are and remembering who we are in this culture is that we are a bowl of light. And my body is the bowl and I am the light. And we come here so perfect and pure and all is well and excited and jumping around and singing and fully self-expressed as children, assuming that our childhoods allow for that kind of freedom. And I thought, yes, sometimes my bowl gets full of rocks. I collect these rocks, these things that don't let my light shine. And that was what I think Vaikea was sharing when she was reading today, was about shining. And I was reminded of that. Everything's touching everything right now, and it's really beautiful to see all the connections. So I was reminded to empty. My job is to empty my bowl. And then I said, well, how will I know what my stones are? How do I know what these, they're hiding in plain sight, apparently. And how will I find them? And the answer was, listen to your emotional body. You'll get triggered. You'll find them. Every time I get emotionally triggered, that's one of the stones. So then I have the opportunity to say, yes, like food, eating food to numb out, or self-doubt, or fear, or overwhelm is a good story of one of my stones. And so when I notice those, then I can simply turn my bowl over and let the rock fall out. Because of course I have to ask, how do I remove a rock from my bowl? And so the chiefs answered, yes, you do have to do something. It doesn't have to fix it or look like it'll fix it. It can be a magical event. It can be a ceremonial event, a ritual event. It can be just something, anything to break the energetic of the old habit. And I just had to be willing to release that stone. I didn't have to be the one to do it. Just had to be willing, and I had to, so to speak, throw my hat over the fence and say, I'm doing this. I'm making the effort here. And so what I was told at that time was the first step was hiuvai. Now, hiuvai is a Hawaiian word that my kumu taught me about bathing in water. And it's a ceremonial ritual bathing practice that usually includes turmeric and salt and all these wonderful things, and prayer and pule and chanting, and one goes to the waters to bathe. Well, growing up as a third generation Baptist minister's family, I knew all about baptism. That made sense to me. And so I went to the healing pools right there at the City of Refuge that I'm told have been used for this purpose for thousands of years. And I was able to have that experience, that ceremonial ritual healing experience right there at the City of Refuge. And so then I asked if these wonderful chiefs would be on my wisdom council, because I'm collecting all these etherical beings like my grandmother, my father, my brother, Gandhi. I really like Gandhi. And Martin Luther King's one of my heroes that I asked to serve on that council with me. Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Many of you may have known me as Ruth Bader Ginsburg last Halloween. And of course, did I say Martin Luther King? Lady Godiva. I love Lady Godiva. So they all said yes. And then I asked, what can I give you? What can I offer to you to serve on my wisdom council on the etheric so that I can be of service to humanity? And they were honored if I would bring this story of the Pu'u Honua o Honaunau to today, to modern times, because there's nobody living there anymore. Tourists go there now and kind of hear a little bit of the story, but not the richness of what is it that they were up to there that made a huge difference in the villages and in the entire islands of Hawaii. And how can we bring that message, that wisdom, that ancient wisdom from them back to today? And so I wanted to find out more. Over the years, I've been asking, what does the word honau now mean? Ho'o now. And very few people will give me a straight answer. And I'm not sure if that's just because I haven't created a deep enough relationship of trust with them, or if it's because most people don't know one of the meanings of ho'o now. So luckily, I found my kumu, and this was the first question I asked him. What is ho'o now? And it divides into two parts. You've got the ho'o, which usually means let's go, let's do something, action, make it happen, let's do this, ho'o. And then there's the now part. And now is a time of day, and it lasts 7 minutes. And it's the time of day when the sun is setting on the ocean horizon. And the moment the sun hits the water, now begins. And 7 minutes later, it's gone. And in those 7 minutes, we have a magical opportunity where a portal might open into a magical realm to an island that you might see between you and the sun, which has a wonderful name in more than one Polynesian tradition, the name of which I cannot remember at this moment. I should have written down. But this island may be seen by you between you and the sun. And if you're lucky, a red path of light will come out to you like a rolling red carpet out to you, the path of light, the red path. And if you see this happen, you have 7 minutes to run as fast as you can on that red path of light to get to that mythical island where the gods and goddesses play. This is your invitation. So be ready, be watchful. You'll never watch the sunset the same again, especially from Kona. So this is that special 7 minutes of time every day that they wait for and watch for, and they're ready to run because you only have 7 minutes. So you better be a fast runner to get all the way to that island under the sun. Now, the now, usually when you put two of the same words together, like flower and flower, you get many flowers or super flowery. Well, now means this is super duper now place, now time. This is where it happens. Let's do this. So it's a really supercharged place to have this portal of opportunity open up that we might be invited to run as fast as we can to get this mythical island. Well, on this mythical island, the gods and goddesses only have one rule, and the rule is that you cannot cry. No sorrow is allowed. And every day the goddess of sorrow comes and asks you, are you sad? Do you miss your family? Do you miss your kids? Do you miss your job? Are you still fulfilling your kuleana? Are you happy to be here? Is this working? Are you sad? And if you start to cry, you're automatically transported back to your home, your roots, your family of origin, your tribe. And that's how you get back. And then if you want to go back to visit with them again, you just wait for the carpet of light, the red path to come out again. So with that in mind, and this particular candle that Juliana, before she even heard the story, brought this candle as a gift. And it's so perfect to honor that we shine our light and that we don't cover it, and that these portals of magical opportunity are all around us all the time, in my belief system, if we just stop to notice and stop to listen. So I'm going to light this candle. Let me show you how beautiful this candle is for this story. This is the sunset on the ocean. So this represents the now time and the opening of that portal. Oh, I have to put it down. All right, sacred space. Thank you for creating it with me. So that's the story I wanted to share with you from yesterday. I think that we may all need to spend a little time on that utopian island just to be refreshed, break free from old ways and thinking, and remember that it is possible to live like that on an island of gods and goddesses so that we can come back and create it here. We don't have to leave our families and our tribes and each other and our kuleana to create that. And that's the hope and vision I have for my future and for all of our future who would want that. I think we're all here creating heaven on earth in our own little way. And sometimes we get up and talk about it, which takes courage. But I did write my vision for the future, and I printed it out this morning, and I put 20 copies over there so that if you want to know what mine is, what would my utopian island tribe look like, you're welcome to join me in that vision. I also brought a physical gift for each of you, and I'd love for Juliana to help me pass it out right now. Yes, it's usually the last thing that happens in the 4 gifts that we bring to each other when we visit. But this is a little quote that I found that I liked, and it was from, let me get it here. I printed it and laminated it wallet size, so you can always have it around somewhere that if it's useful to you. Can I have one, Juliana, so I can remember who it's by? Thank you. So this little vision, it says, my vision of the future is much stronger than my experience of the past. And that has been very powerful for me to remember lately, that I can create a vision of the future that is more powerful than the experience I have of what happened in the past, particularly when it comes to sexual violence in America, or violence in America, or violence in Hawaii, whatever the issue is. This transformative justice approach of visioning a future. We haven't gotten into the definition of transformative justice, but I better, because I've got about 6 minutes, I think. So let me jump ahead. Oh, this, by the way, is from Esther Hicks. So Gandhi is one of the wonderful people on my etheric council that I love to take wisdom from. And when I was sitting bubbling up with the aloha chant next to the pu'uhonua ohona now, I remembered Gandhi's spiritual principles that he lived by, and I wanted to be able to learn from Gandhi what were his practices. And one was exactly what we were doing with Darby this morning, and that was the mantra, saying words over and over again because we become them. And that's just one of the spiritual practices of many. One is transparency. Gandhi was transparent with his life, with everything. He was very humble. Remember, ha'a ha'a from the Aloha. He was all about unity consciousness. He was all about not othering people and making them wrong or bad. He was about seeing us as a spiritual whole in a material world. And and knowing that he wanted to bring himself fully and apply his spiritual principles to the material world and not get away from the material world, but to bring it to. So it's almost like he had a vision of society of how it could be from some magical island he had visited, came back to India and said, this is who we can be. And then that vision became more powerful than the hopelessness of thinking that, you know, Britain would never leave and they would be subject and enslaved by the British government for so many, many hundreds of years. So patience was one of his great gifts that I really need more help with, and that is aho nui, that part of aloha that is patience. I don't think I know anyone more patient than Gandhi. And satyagraha. This is kind of, in my view, the idea of pono, to be righteous, to do the right thing, no matter the consequence. And that is a courage that I really am excited about embodying in my life. And his focus beyond religion was truth. And he believed in religion as a way to get there, as a way to get beyond what is in the material realm and find the truth of who we are and why we're here in the spiritual evolution that we can create for ourselves here. And his moral character, his willingness to do what was right, even though even though it wasn't necessarily the law. He would break the law to be pono. And just like Gandhi's practice led India to freedom, I want to lead our nation to freedom from sexual violence, and not in traditional ways, but by using innovative interventions, by using a way to transform society as the place where this becomes a thing, so that it's no longer a thing. The source of the violence in America is where I want to start the conversation, so that we can actually, like the City of Refuge, offer the healing practices, the healing protocols, the spiritual solutions, and create villages that support each other and cooperate rather than harm each other. So, for example, if we were to just put all the violent offenders behind bars today in our society, it wouldn't solve the problem. Why? Because we are creating them. Our society is just going to pump out more. So even if you put every rapist in jail today, it wouldn't be the answer. I'm skipping ahead a little bit so that I don't. I want to talk a little bit about transformative justice, obviously, in contrast to what we're used to: punitive justice, punishment justice. We're used to compensatory justice, moving money around between peoples, pretending that cutting off my hand is worth $25,000, and if you pay me, everything's okay. That's our current justice system, punishing people and moving money around. It doesn't really, as a civil rights attorney in downtown Oakland for over a year and winning every case, I'll tell you, we lost every case, even though we won, because they were not better off. Nobody was better off. So the current justice system is based on, I think, a fraud premise. And it's based on a flawed premise of who we are and who we are to each other and how we relate to one another and what are we doing here? To think of these problems or issues in society about how we resolve conflict as problems that need to be fixed by a majority that's allowed to, impose and dominate the minority, impose their will on the minority, I think might be a little, it's a thing of the past, perhaps, that we're now evolving towards something much more delicious. Why settle for basic human rights when we can have so much more? I mean, if all we did was just get our basic human rights met, we still wouldn't have real freedom. We still wouldn't have real affinity and love for each other in our communities. We still wouldn't have aloha. Like, I am so spoiled here in this community with a real aloha that, even this abortion issue that just came down, I'm like, wow, if, that's like the tip of the iceberg of what's possible for humanity, to just have the right to choose an abortion. And it might be life-saving in that moment, but it's settling for something so much less than how I see our future to be. In my lifetime, it was never an option to have children. That's not a possibility when you're a career woman running your own law firm and making the world a better place. There's no money, there's no time. That's not a possibility in the culture that we've created. So that was not a choice for me. I did not feel that I had freedom of choice around having children. So, what I'm creating is something I call a visionary grassroots movement, evolving our cultural norms to rise above sexual violence through innovative, transformative justice approaches, the kind that we feel and experience at the City of Refuge. These ancient ways of being with one another and with the earth, environmental justice, social justice, justice to my own body when I decide what I'm going to feed it today. These mental practices of how do I be in relationship to this bowl of my light is in, or to all of you in this smaller community or the village that I want to create that agrees on certain values so that we can have the experience of community that we desire. It doesn't have to solve the world's problems. It can just solve ours today. And then we can see our problems as opportunities for spiritual development. And we can hold them as precious. And we can mine each other's diversity of thought, of feeling, of experience to find more and more of the truth. Because I don't have the corner on the market of truth, and I know it. I'm just one of many who have incredible experiences that create possibilities of picking up on pieces of the puzzle. The truth is amongst us. And by having diversity of thought and embracing it and enjoying that diversity, we have such richness amongst us. And I'm very, very hopeful and excited and optimistic and just really excited about humanity's future. I want to share one quote with you from Gandhi that I put over on the bulletin board over there. And let's see if I wrote it here. Oh, yes, I did. Yes. It is a quote about, and I have to give you a blessing too. Those are the last two things. So Gandhi said, when you're feeling discouraged about the world, which many of us had a little bit of a heartbreak. Heartbreak, by the way, they're really good experts at heartbreak at the City of Refuge, Pu'u Honua, regardless of whether there are any rangers or physical people there. Okay, they love that one. That's a good one. So I know it seems like the world may be becoming more and more violent in America every day when we watch the news and listen to those stories. But Gandhi said, do not lose faith in humanity, because humanity is an ocean. And if a few drops of the ocean are dirty, the ocean does not become dirty. He was a believer in our goodness as a general rule. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy, this project I'm taking on with my sister, who is a wonderful human being. And I'm just so excited. We've been working on this for a year and a half. We will launch, by the way, on July 13th. It's a full moon. I am not saying it's going to be easy. I'm saying it's going to be worth it. My blessing today came to me as a blessing from a 6-year-old Hawaiian girl. And this 6-year-old girl was down at Kealakekua Bay. And I showed up as a mermaid. And she was feeling really excited about a mermaid showing up in Kealakekua. And I had brought her an extra tail to swim with me. And her grandmother said, oh, this is so auspicious. You should say a chant to the ocean. And so of her many chants that she had memorized, she chose one. And it was the most glorious, beautiful chant I had ever seen, a radiant 6-year-old with queenly presence share with the ocean. And I said, what was that? And she said, Ma'ona. And I said, what is Ma'ona? And she said, fulfillment beyond your wildest imagination. And it gives me chills to remember the wisdom of a 6-year-old girl when she knows that there's more out there than just the physical, and anything is possible. So that's my blessing today to all of us is Ma'ona. May we all be fulfilled beyond our wildest imaginations. May the need for civil rights be a thing of the past. May we not settle for rights. May we have Ma'ona. And your gift to me, if you choose to accept the invitation, is to apply this personally to your own life. Start to ask yourself, what would transformative justice look like in your own life? And then if you get excited about it, call me up. There's a sign-up sheet over here if you want to get on our newsletter about our launch on the July 13th date. And we're happy to include you in this movement, this visionary movement for nonviolence in America. So I look forward to connecting and playing with each of you. I won't take any questions because of time, but I'm open to questions individually at any time. And we also have the business card over here with phone numbers and things. So thank you so much for coming.
And Juliana too. I mean, wow, you came special for that, but you didn't feel disappointed either, I assume. Yeah, yeah. Wow. So now is the time of our program when we invite people to give back by making an offering. And we have this lovely koa bowl sitting on the small table. You can, so we'll have offertory music from Darby. And as that is happening, you can come up one at a time and put whatever you want in the bowl. It can be something, it can be in the form of money, check, a good wish, um, a flower. I remember once when we were kind of new in Kona and our children were little and I wasn't working. Rob was, I think, working 2 jobs to support us. But we had a lot of lemons. So I think I put a lemon in the offering bowl. I hope someone benefited from it. Yeah, because it is kind of a new thought teaching that that when someone gives unselfishly, it benefits the giver as well as the receiver. So thank you in advance for whatever you give, and may you be blessed by your giving. And those of you that are watching the live stream, you can find instructions on the New Thought website of different ways of giving when you aren't able to actually attend a service in person. And one thing wonderful that's happened during the pandemic is quite a number of people have signed up to do automatic recurring monthly donations by way of our PayPal. And as a board member, I'm very grateful for that because it's sort of like you can count on a certain level of support to happen every month, even if people get busy or absent-minded. So that's something you could consider if it feels right to you. Okay, Darby, take it away.
So this is the Sanskrit prayer again, asking for all beings in all the worlds to be happy, healthy, free, and in peace. It's a beautiful chant that my spiritual teacher, Amma, taught me many years ago, and a beautiful chant, easy, simple, to bring into your life at any time that you would like to offer and pray for peace, health, and happiness for all beings. And I love that that also includes myself when I'm praying this. So, yeah. That's it. Lokaha samasta sukino bhavantu. 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 May all beings be happy. May all beings be free. May all beings be healthy. May all beings live in peace. May all beings be happy. May all beings be free. May all beings be healthy. May all beings live in peace. Lokaha samasta sukino bhavantu. 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 Chant with me. Lokaha samasta sukino bhavantu. 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 May all beings be happy. May all beings be free. May all beings be healthy. May all beings live in peace. Loka samasta Sukino Bhavantu. Loka samasta Sukino Bhavantu.
Thank you, Darby. It's now we will have a little time of announcements, and I wanted to ask the two of you first if you have anything to mention in the way of announcements about future events, classes, mailing lists, CDs. Maybe Darby, you could go first. I think you brought something, right?
Yeah, I brought some stickers for everybody if you'd like. Just over there, some beautiful artwork from my dear friend B, who used to come here all the time a long time ago. Bruce.
What's her full name?
Bruce B, you know B.
Bruce.
So he
Oh,
made me some
yes,
beautiful
yes.
artwork. So feel free to take some. And then while I have a quick announcement, is that I, as well as serving birthing women, I also serve all women. So in the form of herbal yoni steams. So that is a special treatment for all ages of women. For many, many areas of healing using herbs and steaming the punani. So it's a beautiful, exciting, calming and healing modality. So if anyone's interested, I'm available for talking about that. So yeah.
Do you have business cards?
Yeah, it's my number is right on the sticker actually, which is right over here on the table.
Perfect. So that's how
yeah.
people would know how to reach
Yeah,
you.
you can reach me
Okay.
there. So
Thank you.
yes.
Okay, we're sharing.
Hello.
So you've mentioned there's some things on the table. Maybe you want to talk about them?
On the table is business cards for Phoenix Rising Empowerment Project. So if you'd like to see the new website, I was hoping it would be up for you today. It might be. I haven't been to look, but I told him he had till 11 o'clock, our web designer. And we have a new intro video and all this fun stuff on there. But the real launch will be July 13th. So I'll probably have a launch party. If you want to get on the mailing list, I'll let you know when we're doing the fun stuff. All right. Thank you.
Okay. So another service that Heather provides is she's the sort of the, let's see, Palmer Vaughn accepted the title of being the produce giveaway czar. So I guess that makes, when he's not on the island, I guess that makes you the tsarina. Okay. Okay, the produce giveaway goddess. And wait, one of those goddesses is associated with abundance you mentioned, right? Which was that? Lakshmi. Okay. All right, you can be Lakshmi's agent. Anyway, this is the day. So there's some nice things out there already. Probably some have been added since I was there. And the only thing I think we need to gather, well, unless you already took care of it, we need bags so that people have a way to take their home what they feel, what they choose. So it's a giveaway. So everything there was given. So there's no compensation expected or required. Just think about what you can use. Kai? Yes, and this is the last Sunday of June. So yeah. All right. So I will share the New Thought announcements now. as we prepare for the end of our service. We are continuing to meet both in person and also live streaming. And if you are not available at the time of the service, the video is available subsequently on our New Thought YouTube channel. And that information is accessible by our New Thought website and in the newsletter if you're on the list. We aren't requiring reservations, but with the exception is if you're planning to bring children, you need to make a reservation by Friday because we don't require the childcare people to work if there's no reservation. But it is free. And the next 2 Sundays, what you have to look forward to, on July 3rd, Randall Rupar will be our speaker. His topic is Humanity Awakening Tools for Illumination. Music provided by Davina Mar and Benjamin Marantz. The following Sunday, the 10th of July, Alfredo Gormazano will be doing everything, speaking, singing, dancing, poetry. And his topic is the inner voice, trusting our guidances. And his music, dance, and poetry is particularly inspired by his long love affair with the Sufi tradition. He does the real thing. This is not just dances of universal peace. He's even learned some of the languages to be able to do the poetry and it'll be a happening. And we have a special event to look forward to next weekend. In the afternoon, Randall will be offering a workshop. He's calling it Tools for Illumination, an Experiential Journey. It will build on the morning's teaching, but a person could come to one or the other or both. The afternoon event is from 1:30 to 3 p.m. with a suggested donation of $20. And monthly events, one of them you get to experience today, right after service. The other one is the first Sunday of the month. We do our pre-service healing meditation with crystal bowls. That's from 8:30 to 9 p.m. here on, I think it'll be sort of on the steps, like between the Honua room and the lanai. And our crystal bowl minister, Erin Peoples, is back after a couple of months on the mainland, so she will be leading that. Finally, there are a few service opportunities. We are a primarily volunteer organization, so things happen if people are willing to put the energy and thought and love and make them happen. And a fair number of our board members are actually on the mainland right now, so our need for other people to step forward is a little bit greater than usual. We need Sunday service volunteers, including greeters, help with setup, put away, tech help. Thank you so much, Kaimana, for doing that today. We also need some people to do what I'm doing today, to be the service facilitator. Our New Thought Facebook page, we want to sort of get that cleaned up and functional again, and that is something that the board is willing to pay for that. The particular pay would be negotiable with the person. We need workshop facilitators for that's happening next week. So someone already has volunteered for that event, and whoever is the workshop facilitator, that's more really a liaison. They don't have to speak into a microphone or anything. It's more just being supportive and helping with the logistics of the workshop. And there's no compensation for that, but you get free admission in exchange for your service. And finally, as I mentioned, we haven't given up on our 50th Jubilee celebration. We're just kind of extending it through at least through the rest of this year until COVID allows us to uh, celebrate in a more uninhibited way. And what we do need is a few people to say they are interested to help plan that and implement it when the time is right. So we'll have a committee as soon as we have members. So to volunteer for any of those things or anything else you may have thought of, you can click reply to the New Thought newsletter if you're on the list, or you can, if you're not on the newsletter list, just go directly to the website, and there's a way to communicate by email, or the email address of the website is www. No, the email address. I'm sorry. I think you can find it. It's www.newthoughtcenterofhawaii.com. It is .com rather than .org. We have cards. If for those of you physically present, there's a little holder with cards on it on the round table. You're welcome to take one of those. And if you're not on the newsletter list and want to be, you can either sign the guest book, or there's a place on the website that allows you to sign up for the newsletter. And I think that pretty much completes it for today. And Darby is going to lead us in our closing song, Hawaii Aloha. We're not making a circle, but you can just stand where you are. And the words are posted in various parts of the lanai. Like there's 2 here, 1 there, a couple facing the other way, I believe. Okay, thank you, Darby. We're ready.
Okay. E Hawaii e ku'one hanau e ku'uhome kula ivine Olai no au ina pono lani o E Hawaii aloha e haoli na o pia o Hawaii ne oli mai na ahe makane e pa mai ne mau ke aloha no Hawaii. Ooh.
Right. Thank you all for being here. Hopefully we'll see you another week. Aloha.